Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Julia Beck, and today's video is going to be on my 9 and 10 week pregnancy update. I'm going to be telling you the size of the baby, the growth and milestones that the baby is having for these particular weeks. I'm going to be giving you insight into some of the symptoms that I have been having. I'm sorry, I am out of breath. I have hit that point in pregnancy where I am just out of breath. But first, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do hit that like button if you like this video. That helps out my channel a ton. If you have any comments, any questions, go ahead and leave them down below and I'll be sure to get them. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video. How I want to do these videos is I want to go into the pregnancy apps that I've been using and do a comparison to what they're saying and the symptoms that I have been having, and list a few others that I have been having. But just to give you kind of a background, this is my second pregnancy, like I said. I had Eleanor, how old is she now? 14 and a half months ago, almost 15 months ago. So my body knows what to do. It wasn't that long ago that I was pregnant and I gave birth and went through all of these motions. So my body is very familiar on what to do. And this pregnancy compared to my very first one, it's very different. With my very first pregnancy, I was nauseous 24/7 for the first 14 weeks. So the first trimester, I was sick and I was exhausted because of it. I had no energy. I couldn't really do anything. So I remember coming home from work, taking a nap, getting up in time to cook Josh and I dinner, eating dinner, and then going back to sleep because I had no energy. I was so exhausted. No matter what I did, nothing worked. I tried ginger ale, I tried crackers, I tried eating smaller portions, but just more throughout the day. Hello, little one. Making a debut, say hi. Okay, go ahead, lay down. I had the ginger candies, and every time it got to the point that every time I had them, I would just get sick because I made that association of I would take these when I was sick, and now I just get sick because I'm taking them. So it was horrible. But with this pregnancy, nothing, absolutely nothing. I will get a little queasy if I don't have something in my stomach. So I've been eating just like a bite of something here and there if I do start to feel queasy. And it's not even nauseous. It feels like if you were to take medication like Tylenol or Advil on an empty stomach. At least for me, that's what it feels like. So really nothing, which I am so incredibly grateful for, and just I feel very blessed. Week 9, size of the baby is a grape. It measures 1 inch in length and the weight is 0.07 ounces. So very tiny, very petite. The size of the baby, the baby looks like that. Just a tiny little thing. The teeth are budding and they're developing within each band of gum, and they'll later transform to the 20 baby teeth that will eventually fall out. And I did forget to mention the baby app that I am using. It is the Baby Center. That's my favorite one. I used it with Eleanor, and What to Expect. Those are my two favorite ones, but the one I use the most is the Baby Center one. The 4 chambers of the baby's heart have formed, and the placenta is developed enough now to take over most of the critical job of producing hormone. That is it for baby for that particular week. Every time I film my cats. You can play with this after. All right, now mama. So the symptoms that are listed are food cravings, food aversions, heightened sense of smell, and being tired, and that is listed in What to Expect. But out of the Baby Center, those are the 3. So food cravings, I haven't had any weird, unusual, out of the ordinary food cravings. There was a day I really wanted a cheeseburger. There was a day I really wanted dill pickles, and I think chocolate cake was in week 10. I'm not quite sure though, but those are the cravings that I've been having. So I don't get weird, unusual, bizarre food cravings that you see in the movies, like a woman wanting ice cream and pickles, or like peanut butter and tuna, stuff like that. I don't get those. I just have cravings for regular food. Food aversions, I haven't had any food aversions. The thought of certain foods, it doesn't nauseate me, but thinking of meat, the texture of it, it just doesn't sound appetizing. That's not to say that I won't want it the next day. So I've been having to kind of shuffle the meal planning that I have set for that particular week. So like one day if I have, chicken and potatoes and veggies on the menu, and I'll think the texture of chicken just doesn't sound really good right now, I'll just swap it out with spaghetti because I always have spaghetti on hand for this very reason. But yeah, it's mainly just the texture that bothers me. Heightened sense of smell, yes. That is like one of the very, very, very first things that happens to me other than missing my period is a heightened sense of smell. It's very strong, and when I was pregnant with Eleanor, it caused me to be sick. It's not very bad this time around. It's not as strong, I should say, which I'm very grateful for, but I definitely have a heightened sense of smell. And being tired, yeah, I mean, I'm tired at the end of the day, but it's not anything out of the unusual. It's just simply being tired after working all day and coming home and having to clean up the house a little bit and cook dinner and, getting Eleanor ready for bed and playing with her. Like the daily normal things that you have to do when you get home from work, that you're just tired. It's not exhausted. It's simply just tired. And that is it for week 9. Week 10, the baby is the size of a kumquat, and it's measuring 1 1/4 inch long from head to rump. And the weight, again, the baby gained quite a bit of weight between week 9 and week 10, measuring at 0.14 ounces. And this is what the baby is looking like at week 10. So still kind of funny looking, but still very small. The eyelids cover the eyes and they'll stay fused shut until week 27. And then that's when they'll start practicing opening and closing their eyes. The teeth start to harden and connect to the jawbone this week. And the baby's forehead temporarily bulges with his or her developing brain and sits very high on his or her head, which measures half of the length of the body. So as you can see, the head is very big, but the little body will grow into the head. All right, so symptoms this week: a thickening middle, excess saliva, vaginal discharge. The thickening middle in your midsection is most likely due to slight weight gain and bloating. So if you're in between regular maternity clothes, wear elastic waistbands or leggings like I have been, because my pants don't fit me and I'm still too small for my full-on maternity clothes. I actually, last pregnancy, I got the over the belly band for the pants and they're comfortable, but my belly isn't big enough for them just yet. So I can't wear them. I can't kind of fold them down and make them work. I'm just not at that point just yet. So I've been wearing leggings. I will say though, I did get a pair of black pants from Target, and they are, I forgot what they're called. They have the band on the sides though, and it's not the over the belly band, and I really like them. They have become my new favorites. I have been wearing them to work all the time and they're just fantastic. And let's see, it's another one, excess saliva. And it says if you may be salivating more than usual, especially if you're nauseous. You may accumulate so much that you need to spit some out, and chewing gum may help you swallow it more easily. I haven't had this problem actually, and I didn't even have this problem when I was pregnant with Eleanor, even though I was really, really nauseous. I hadn't heard of this being a pregnancy symptom until my aunt actually had it when she was pregnant, and it happened to her through all of her pregnancies. So it's definitely a pregnancy symptom. If it happens to you, don't freak out, don't worry. It's totally normal. And the last one, vaginal discharge. You may have a lot more discharge starting from early pregnancy until your baby is born. It should be odorless or mild smelling and milky white. And you can wear panty liners, just don't wear any tampons or the menstrual cup. For sure, have this. And I noticed looking back that even with the very first pregnancy, I had it from the time that I ovulated until I had Eleanor, and it's the same this time around. It starts off when you are ovulating, or at least for me, when I'm ovulating, and it stays the same until I give birth. So that's definitely a symptom of mine, and it's totally normal. Like it says, it's protecting your baby from any bacteria, anything that can harm the baby, from any not diseases, from any infections. So it's just making sure your vaginal cavity is nice and clean. We went to our very first ultrasound and official midwife's appointment right when I hit 10 weeks. And we actually had our very first ultrasound. It was a few days before. I think it was like 4 days before, because it was on a Friday and I turn a week every Tuesday. So at the ultrasound, it was amazing. It was fantastic. We got to see the little baby, and they just measured. It was a very quick ultrasound. It's not super long, at least ours aren't for the very first one. It's just making sure that baby is looking good at this point in time of the pregnancy, and measuring to make sure that what you gave as your estimated due date based on your last menstrual period is lining up with how the baby is measuring. And for my hospital, they said that if it's a week off, then we'll change the due date. But if it's within that week, then we're just going to stick to it. And sure enough, my baby is measuring right along schedule. So we were 9 weeks and I think like 4 days. So the due date is still August 17th. The baby was measuring great, no problems whatsoever. We are going to go back for the 20-week anatomy scan, and that's about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how stubborn baby is going to be, because with Eleanor it took a little longer because she was not cooperating. They were trying to get, I think it was the kidneys or something, and she was positioned just right, and she was hiding, and it was fun. So at one point I had to be kind of just almost upside down like this on the table so she could measure and try to get a good shot of her. It was just funny. Every baby is different though. And then after the 20-week anatomy scan, we had to go back, I think she said, for a 32-week growth scan, and then a 36, maybe 30-week growth scan, because when I had Eleanor, her shoulders got stuck. So she had shoulder that's not dystopia. Let me find the official name of it because I always forget what it's called. I know it's shoulder something. Dystopia. That's not it, Julia. So that's what I had with Eleanor, and she's just wanting to make sure that if the baby is a little too big, like double digits, then what the next step is going to be. Not necessarily C-section. She just wants to make sure that the baby's shoulders don't get stuck again. And she said it could just be because you had a water birth with Eleanor and we weren't able to get your legs back far enough and have that extra leverage to prevent that. Or it could just be the way that your pelvis is shaped. So we don't know. I really think it's because I was in the tub and I had such a short labor. The labor started at midnight and I had her at 6, but active labor, full on active labor, didn't start until after my water broke at like 6:30. And again, I had her at 10. So it was within like 3.5, 4 hours that I had her, and I really didn't get checked during that time at all because things were moving very fast, and she was sunny side up, and no one knew that she was sunny side up. I didn't tell them that I was having excruciating back labor. I was just trying to work through it. Had I said that I think she's sunny side up because I'm having this horrible back labor, they would have done the rebozo. I think that's what it's called. It's when they take like the scarf thing on your belly and they kind of wiggle her a little bit to get her to turn. So all of those things played hand in hand with her shoulders getting stuck. At least that's what I think. I'm not a medical expert. I don't know. That's just what my mom gut is saying. Anyways, she said you can totally labor in the tub if you want. That's what I recommend. But when it comes time to pushing, that's when you're going to get on the bed. And that way, if it does look like your shoulders are getting stuck, we can pull your legs back far enough and then kind of use that as leverage. But anyways, that's the reason why we have to do 2 growth scans later on in the pregnancy. So then we had the 10-week appointment. She asked us all about our family medical history. My husband and I, luckily he was able to come with me, so he was able to give all of the information for that. I was able to give all my information for my family medical history. We talked about, again, the previous birth, because she wasn't my midwife then. My midwife that I had for my first pregnancy retired, so it's a new midwife. But she said, I'm pretty sure I was on the floor when that happened, and I was in the room because I remember everybody getting called to that room. I'm like, yeah, I do remember everybody being called in that room, and I remember her telling me once the head was out, I need you to stand up, and that's when I had to stand up because her shoulders were stuck. Anyways, that's a whole different story. It's a story for another time. So we talked about that, and she said, because, I'm sorry, I have a hair, I think, getting stuck on my eyelashes. She said, because her shoulders did get stuck and you have that in your history, I'm obligated to give you another option to have the baby. And I'm like, are you talking about C-section? She's like, yes. I said, I definitely do not want a C-section because I don't want to be taking care of a toddler, a newborn, and recovering from a C-section. She's like, I don't blame you. I don't really think you need it. I think you'll be just fine based on your body type and the labor and delivery from the first pregnancy. So that's what we had to talk about. And that's when she said, after the 20-week scan, I'll send you back for 2 more scans and we'll see how baby is growing. She said, I don't think you're going to have a bigger baby than your first. Eleanor was 9 pounds 7 ounces, and she was a big baby with a big head. But that is pretty much all we talked about. She said, because I am Rh negative, I have to get another RhoGAM shot at 24. It's either 24 or 28 weeks because my blood is different than the baby's blood. And I'll have to get tested for the group B strep later on in the pregnancy. I think it might be 32 or 36 weeks, one of those. The timing is a little fuzzy from the last pregnancy, but those are the only things that we really talked about. She says she doesn't have any concerns. Everything is looking great. Very quote unquote normal, which is fantastic to hear in a pregnancy. Normal is always good. Oh, all right. One more symptom that I have been having, and I need to start writing these down because I can't rely on my memory. Both 9 and 10 going into 11 weeks. I've been having very tender breast, which is completely normal, and I have been feeling the letdown sensation. And it's not hardcore like it is when you're nursing and you're like, oh my gosh, they're about to explode. I need to feed my baby right now. It's just the slightest little tingly sensation that I've been feeling, and it comes and goes very quickly. It seems like it happens when I'm driving, which is really weird. I don't feel it so much when I'm home, and that's probably because I'm busy doing stuff when I'm home. But when I'm driving, I'm just sitting there focusing on the road, paying attention to Eleanor sitting in the back seat, and that's pretty much it. So I'm much more apt to feel it and to be aware of it. But that's another symptom that I've been having, and I think that's the only symptom that wasn't mentioned in any of the apps that I wanted to tell you guys about. Before I leave, my mind is everywhere. I'm actually debating if I want to refilm this. I will show you guys a belly shot. So even though this is 11 weeks, I've been terrible about taking bump pictures. Thankfully, Josh said, I need to take your bump picture tonight because we need to do a time lapse of a picture every day until you have the baby. So that is what we're currently working on. But this is what the baby looks like right now. So let me move the chair. So that is it. So just a tiny little baby. And like I said, the baby decided to make an appearance at 10 weeks, which is a lot sooner than I started showing with Eleanor. With her, I started showing, like, noticeably, visibly showing, like, other people could notice that she's pregnant. She didn't just have a lot of food. 13 weeks. It was towards the end of the first trimester. That's when I started showing. But like I said, second pregnancy, it hasn't been all that long since I was pregnant. So my uterus was just like, yes, I got you, girl. But that is it. This is my official goodbye, guys. All right, I'm going to go take a nice hot shower. I'm going to do a nice mask, and then I'm going to go to bed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.